you've taken a moment out of your busy schedule on this lovely Saturday to join us to hear a little bit more about a condition that a lot of people around the world are suffering from in silence. And those that do not have this condition, they do not understand the intensity of it and just how extreme it is, because there aren't any signs on the outside that you can actually see to tell that someone is suffering from this condition. But you just don't understand the extreme pain that the people that deal with this condition go through most on a daily basis. Now, the condition that I'm speaking of, ladies and gentlemen, is called fibromyalgia. And it is described as a chronic, widespread pain and a heightened and painful response to pressure. It's often described by most fibro sufferers as hurting all over the body and feeling extremely exhausted all the time. But fibromyalgia isn't restricted to just pain, which is where the term fibromyalgia syndrome comes from. Now, those with fibromyalgia experience pain in their tendons, the ligaments, along with tender points throughout their body, along with fatigue. Even slight pressure on tender points can cause pain. Other symptoms include chronic fatigue, sleep disturbances, and joint stiffness. Now, scientists estimate that 5 million Americans alone, age 18 or older, are affected by fibromyalgia, and between 80 and 90% of those are diagnosed. Those are women. However, men and children can also be affected. Now, it's something very unusual to hear about men being affected with fibromyalgia, because just like most women, they go through it in silence and don't speak on it, simply because there are not signs on the outside that you can see. And those that you do see, as far as the extreme exhaustion, a lot of people characterize that as being, just overtired, or for some people even lazy, not even knowing what it is that individual may be going through. But more women than men, like I said, have fibro, which has been known as chronic muscle pain, psychogenic rheumatism, tension myalgia, and fibrocystis. Now, fibromyalgia amplifies painful sensations by affecting the way your brain processes pain signals. Now, fibro has symptoms that are intense at most times for some, and according to doctors, most likely will never disappear entirely, although it isn't life-threatening or progressive. Now, the exact cause is not known to medical science at this time, but from the studies that have been conducted, thoughts are that it deals with central sensitization, if I can say that correctly. People that suffer with fibro have increased sensitivity, more or less, and a lower threshold for pain due to a change in the pathways to the brain and the associated signals that go along with that. There are chemicals that are in our brains called neurotransmitters that increase, as well as pain receptors or neurons that receive the signals from them. Now, these neurons increase sensitivity and overact to pain signals, resulting in places in the body that normally wouldn't hurt, but now they're hurting with just the slightest pressure that's being applied. And that is the major gist for a lot of fibromyalgia sufferers. Now, the process that begins this entirely is what is still not known to scientists and doctors. Now, there are potential of some factors, they say, which may contribute to the development, such as injury or trauma, especially in the upper spinal region of the body, abnormalities of the autonomic nervous system, which in layman's terms is a dysfunction of the nervous system. Those with fibro often experience this at night, which leads to things like dizziness, fatigue, and stiffness. Now, as you can see, many people with fibro suffer often with great pain, and they do it, like I said, on a daily basis. And most of all of them suffer in silence. Now, this is not a condition that is visible from the outside. So to many people, like I said before, they're going to characterize that as most people that suffer with this as being antisocial or unsociable, because, they don't want to be around people. But it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the symptoms or the conditions that they're going through, with the intense pain, the chronic fatigue and always feeling tired, the mental fog fogginess that they're dealing with. The pain, ladies and gentlemen, is something that most of us that do not deal with fibromyalgia or know someone that does, we can't even fathom what it is that they are going through. Now, some of the symptoms of fibro are tension headaches, joint disorders, IBS or irritable bowel syndrome, anxiety, depression, facial pain, pain in the upper neck, back of the head, the back, chest, elbows, knees, and hips. Also, stress, sleep disturbances, and for women, painful menstruation, the weather, physical activity, and even the time of day can affect the symptoms of people with fibro. Now, you may ask, what would one with fibromyalgia do if, according to doctors and scientists, there is no cure known to man? Well, ladies and gentlemen, as with anything and everything, if you are a believer in the Creator, you know that God has already created natural medicine to assist in the healing and restoration of our bodies. And tonight, I'm going to briefly share with you some of all the natural goodness that has been scientifically studied and documented to assist those that have fibromyalgia. Now, before I talk about the first product here at Vida Divina that contains the ingredients that have been studied, I must say this. Myself, Vida Divina, and any Vida Divina affiliates do not make any medical claims. We do not claim to treat, cure, prevent, or mitigate any disease or illness. But we do suggest that prior to changing or altering your daily regimen that you seek the advice of a medical professional. Now, the very first product that I'm going to speak about, this particular one, well, actually the next two, they are in another product that we have. These two can actually be taken alone or can be taken as well with the second product that I'm going to speak of. But the very first one, ladies and gentlemen, is called chaga, C-H-A-G-A, chaga mushroom. And the most powerful chaga mushroom is the Siberian chaga mushroom. It's one of the most powerful medicinal mushrooms on the planet. It's rich in vitamins A, C, B, D, and E, and it has minerals zinc, calcium, magnesium, iron, and selenium. Now, when it comes down to fibromyalgia, what the major benefits of chaga has to do with is protecting against cell degeneration, helping to eliminate toxins from the body, improving sleep, improving the digestive system, also boosting the immune system, and helping with the neurological system as well. Now, if you may not have heard this before, and then again you may have, a lot of chronic illnesses that we deal with, ladies and gentlemen, has to do with our diet and what it is that we consume. If you take a look back 50, 60, maybe 70 years ago, and see the difference in how foods were made at that time, from how they were harvested and farmed to how foods are produced now, you will be able to see how the development of more chronic illnesses and diseases have come about because of the manufacturing of how these products have been made and the chemicals that have been made with them or pesticides that have been made around them. And when we are consuming a lot of processed foods rather than natural, raw, plant-based foods, this helps to destroy the gut bacteria in our system, which has a lot to do with different inflammations, and especially when it comes down to our immune system. And this, in some cases, is passed on genetically as well to our children. Okay? So chaga is one absolutely amazing product for fibromyalgia. One major reason why, shall I say, is because it's rich in beta-glucans, which can dramatically strengthen and reinforce the immune system, making it an ideal choice for those suffering with an autoimmune disorder such as fibromyalgia. Also, as far as lupus is concerned, or PCOS, okay? The next one is the reishi mushroom, or also known as Ganoderma lucidum. It is a powerhouse antioxidant with microbial action that can take on any type of bacteria in your system. It takes on bacteria, viruses, stimulating the immune system and calming that autonomic nervous system. So it's also going to help in that neurological process in your body that goes along with fibromyalgia. Now, the effectiveness for Gano and Fibro, it helps in reducing spasticity in muscles. It also assists with irritable bowel syndrome, colitis, ulcers, bronchial spasms, and it helps in the detoxification of the liver, which is also very, very essential when it comes down to the proper digestion and nutrition that you get for your body. Now, fibro pain can be decreased by nourishing stem cells, okay? And with doing that, you're able to do that also along with a healthy nutritional diet. Now, if for whatever reason your diet is just not A+ on that nutritional side, you can get that in additional supplements, okay, rather than your actual foods. So in the very next product that I'm going to be speaking about, you'll be able to find that nourishment for your stem cells, and that's in the time capsules. Now, being able to get the nourishment for your stem cells, the two ingredients that are in the time capsules that help are AFA algae and cordyceps. They both support stem cell production, and both, like I said, are found in the time capsules. The stem cells, they're your master cells that can develop into many different cell types in your body, such as muscle cells, red blood cells, or skin cells. They serve as a repair system for the body and can divide without limitation to replenish other cells. So as far as helping with your muscle cells, that's going to help in the reduction of pain that you deal with fibromyalgia. Now, also in this, the time capsules, speaking of the AFA algae, this will also help you with your gut bacteria. Now, our guts are home to over 500 bacterial species, and it is now known that gut bacteria manufactures about 95% of the body's supply of serotonin, which influences both mood and your GI activity. And mood is, or shall I say, is associated with depression, especially as far as fibromyalgia is concerned. So that serotonin level, as you can probably tell, is a deficiency in those that have fibromyalgia when it comes down to depression. Now, serotonin regulates the appetite for carb-rich foods, and this neurotransmitter is out of balance in those that have fibro. So being able to get that in the time capsule with the AFA algae is absolutely amazing. Along with that AFA algae, it's rich in magnesium, which assists in slow-moving bowels, okay? Now, slow-moving bowels cause pain in the back, the neck, shoulders, fatigue, also colds and flu, skin problems, mental fogginess, headaches, and cognitive difficulties. All, ladies and gentlemen, which are symptoms of fibro. So with you getting the magnesium in that AFA algae, that is something as well that is going to help alleviate some of the pain that or other causes or mental fogginess that you dealing with fibromyalgia. Now, magnesium is necessary to regulate stress response also, and it is also going to aid in sleep, which, of course, they know lack of sleep increases the pain level of fibro sufferers as well. Now, in a study published in the Journal of Nutritional Medicine, fibro patients were given malic acid and magnesium and the AFA algae, and with that combination, all reported a marked decrease in pain within 2 weeks of taking those supplements, and they were able to help manage that pain and decrease that pain as well, as long as they were continuing to take those supplements. So as you can see, that's something that's in this particular product that is going to be very helpful in helping you to deal with that daily pain. There hopefully will be days where you won't even have that intense pain, where some days you may have it, but it may not be as intense as it was before. Now, the next that's in the time capsules that helps with fibro is maitake mushrooms. Now, it's a strong stimulant of the immune system because of its beta-glucan compound. It helps reduce inflammation in the intestinal tract, and it also contains that malic acid, which is also is helpful in the combination of that magnesium that I just spoke of that's in the AFA algae. So you can see that those two together being in that one particular capsule is going to make it even stronger for you. Now, malic acid is one of many alpha hydroxy acids that are found in fruits and vegetables already, and it's instrumental in preventing hypoxia, which is a breakdown in the delivery of oxygen to the muscle cells, which cause chronic muscle fatigue and a lot of the muscle pain that fibro individuals deal with as well. So as you can see with that, like I said, there's that combination all works together in helping someone that suffers with fibro. And the cordyceps, which I mentioned before, it has been shown to treat fatigue, exhaustion, and provides energy and increased stamina. And it's also been shown to help relieve anxiety, treat insomnia, and enhance the immune system. So time capsules, ladies and gentlemen, with all those ingredients are very, very good to help someone that is suffering with fibromyalgia. And not just through my words alone, ladies and gentlemen, but because it has been scientifically studied and documented with different clinical studies showing that it has helped different people with fibromyalgia. Now, next one, and I'm going to go through real quickly because I'd love to bring someone onto the line to give a testimony, their own personal testimony with the products we have here at Vida Divina. The next one is Ignite, and that is our super digestive enzyme. That is going to help with your digestive system in helping break down the foods that you consume. Now, it's essential to feed the skin from the inside out with beneficial probiotics and digestive enzymes that are going to assist with breaking down food for proper absorption. And the plant-based whole food diet or supplementation is definitely a good way for you to be able to do that. And like I said, that within itself is going to help with some of that inflammation and being able to help your body function even better with dealing with fibromyalgia. And the last one, which is definitely not anyone to shy away from, is Te Divina, or detox tea. The detox tea, ladies and gentlemen, is something that every individual should have in their life. Whether it's something that you're drinking on a daily basis or you're drinking every now and then to detoxify your system from the things that you may be eating or drinking, it is essential because of not just the foods and beverages that we consume, but because of our environment altogether, the air that we breathe, the chemicals that we breathe in, especially from household cleaners, perfumes, ladies' makeup that you wear. All these things essentially have an effect on your cellular system. So detoxification is key and essential for every human being, okay? And when we have some kind of inflammation going on in our bodies because of the foods that we are eating or beverages that we are consuming, we are already doing damage to organs that are supposed to naturally help in that detoxification system. So now we have to find a way to help to restore that. And Te Divina is one of the best things on the planet for that to be done, beginning within the first 24 hours of consumption. Now, speaking of Te Divina, ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring on one of my special guests this evening to speak to you about her journey with fibromyalgia and what products she's used here with Vida Divina that has been able to help her in her daily living with fibromyalgia. Miss Libby Brown, are you on the call with us this evening?
Yes, I am. Hi.
Hello, Libby. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well.
Good, good. I'm so happy that you are able to join us this evening, and I am so super excited to hear about your testimony with fibromyalgia simply because there are so many people that I see on a daily basis that speak about what it is that they go through. And there's still a lot of people that don't really know that there may be some kind of relief that they can get with dealing with this condition, and being able to have someone that knows firsthand what it's about, what it is that they go through, and what they might be able to do to get some relief is one of the most exciting things that's happening right now. So if you would, Libby, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about your journey with fibro and what it is that you've been doing with Vina to help you with that?
Okay, yes, again, my name is Libby. I'm originally from California, and I live in Oklahoma. I moved out here about 3 years ago. I was a medical assistant for about 20 years, so I do have some medical background. I worked front and back office, so I was able to deal with a lot of patients that also had this disease. In fact, when I was first diagnosed, which was probably a little over 10 years ago, I was kind of skeptic, when fibromyalgia first started being talked about, it was the phantom disease. It was not the phantom disease, it was the phantom diagnosis. It was the diagnosis that they were saying that people were getting when they couldn't figure out what was wrong with you. And they didn't want to just say that, oh, you're just lazy or you're just tired or you're, whatever. But, it's been tough, yeah. It's been about 10 years. Like I said, a little over 10 years ago I was diagnosed. I've been on all kinds of medications and treatments, anywhere from over-the-counter medications to anti-inflammatories to prescription narcotics, acupuncture, trigger points, even occipital nerve blocks, which is where they put a needle in the back of your head, which is not fun. It can be quite painful, quite debilitating. I mean, even sometimes just going to the grocery store can be a task. I'll get to the point to where I'm leaning on my shopping cart, and it's maybe an hour trip that I'm taking, and I'll get that tired from just shopping. It's ridiculous. I mean, and like I said, I moved out here from California, and I actually haven't worked for the past 3 years because of my fibromyalgia. And like I said, I've been treated with all kinds of things, but a friend of mine actually introduced me here on Facebook this company, Vida Divina, and it was free to join, so I thought, you know what, I'll give it a try. And I was overweight, and I was seeing this tea and how people were losing weight on it, and I thought, okay, well, if I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, I might as well try. So I did try, and it's made a world of difference. I will say that this tea, I will be drinking it every day as long as I can get my hands on it. That's the good thing about this tea, is that it is safe enough for you to drink it every day. But it's given me my energy back. Most people with fibromyalgia, we can't work out, we can't exercise because we're already in so much pain. Some people will describe fibromyalgia pain as like a tired body. Some people feel like they've been beat up, and they're just bruised. Some people would explain it as pain that you have after a vigorous workout. There's numbness, there's tingling, there's muscle twitching. I mean, you pretty much nailed it when you were naming all the symptoms and the different ways that people are treated for this. I mean, it's pretty tough. But so, like I said, I've been drinking this tea, and it's made a world of difference. I'm actually exercising now. I've lost a total of 22 pounds. I was actually pre-diabetic when I started this. I'm not anymore.
Yay! All right.
Yay! I mean, I'm not cured. I'm not claiming that at all.
Right.
This is probably the only thing that I have tried or taken that has actually given me relief without crazy side effects. A lot of those medications, yeah, they'll work for a little while, but then you start having these weird side effects that it gets to the point where you'd rather just not take it and just deal with the pain like you always do anyway, because you don't want those side effects.
Wow.
So way to go about getting treatment. You know, and you were talking about toxins too, and I think that's huge with fibromyalgia. I think it is. I noticed that cat litter. I have a couple cats and a couple dogs, but I've noticed that there are certain brands of cat litter that if I smell it, it will trigger a fibromyalgia flare-up.
Wow.
Yeah. It's crazy. And like you said, certain weather, I can tell you when it's going to rain before it rains.
Oh my God.
But, yeah, it's not fun.
I can only imagine that it's not, because like I said, didn't know a lot about it beforehand. I had heard of people who had it, and it seems like over the past few years, a lot of people now are speaking out more and more about it, and there's a lot more awareness about it. Now, is there as much as there should be? I don't think that there is. I think there needs to be more about it, because like I said, a lot of people still, they remain silent about it because, you know, I think it may be because, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, one, you don't want someone to look at you as if you are handicapped or disabled, you know, in a sense, but two, you need people to realize that, okay, I am not, you know, I'm not abnormal, I'm not a lazy individual that just, you know, doesn't want to do
anything, right.
Right. So I think there needs to be a lot more awareness about it so that people actually, one, understand it better, two, are able to really be able to provide more support to family and friends that are dealing with it, because you deal with a lot of stress just from dealing with the pain. And, you know, not wanting to speak out to anyone, you know, to ask for help, because, you know, I know a lot of people, they, you know, have a sense of pride and the thing of feeling like they need to ask for help all the time. They don't want to have to do that because they don't want people to think that, oh, you know, I'm taking advantage, when it's just a thing of, you know, I do need some kind of assistance. I do need help because this is going to help relieve some of this, you know, this intense pain that I go through. So that's why I think a lot more awareness needs to be shared on the subject, and especially when it comes to any type of all-natural relief that can be provided when it comes to all-natural treatment. Because as you said, when it comes down to medicines or drugs that are given, you know, over the counter, we know that you'll be treated for something, and that same thing will provide you with a side effect for something else. And, you know, and at the end of the day, it's causing you to be in more pain than what you started with in the beginning.
Exactly. And also with fibromyalgia, a lot of the stuff that they will treat you with for it can be addictive. They'll give you pain medications. I took Percocet for a long time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just so that I could sleep at night. Just so that I could sleep was why I would take the Percocet, so that my body would not hurt long enough for me to get some sleep. You know?
Now, with drinking the tea, how have you been able to, more so as far as like the, you know, rest is concerned, how has it helped you in that aspect?
It has helped a lot. I actually sleep through the night. I used to wake up having night sweats, and I would have certain weird pains and stuff in my legs. A lot of, with fibromyalgia, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but it usually is associated with other problems. It's not just pain. You know, I think you mentioned this in the beginning too. It's not just pain. There's the anxiety, there's depression, there's irritable bowel syndrome, migraines, brain fog. That is the worst.
Oh, wow.
That was the one thing that would drive me nuts. I'd be in the middle of a conversation, and all of a sudden I would just forget what I was saying.
Wow.
And it's embarrassing. See, that's another reason why people don't really want to go out, is because it can be embarrassing. You know, if you have irritable bowel syndrome, if you can't control it and you have an accident because you're out and about, you know, I mean, fibromyalgia affects 100% of the body, the whole body. So, but yes, to get back to the tea, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Because like I said, a lot of people do not know and they don't understand.
They don't. I always tell people, if I could switch bodies with you, you wouldn't last 2 if you were, to me, this is normal. What I feel like having pain all the time. It's normal for me. But for someone that it's not, I honestly I don't think that they could handle it. And you had mentioned earlier, and I've read this too, but you had mentioned it also, the fact that they say that we have a lower tolerance for pain, and I have to disagree with that. We live with this pain every day, 24/7. I would think that would give us a higher tolerance for pain. I went to the dentist, and the dentist even told me that I had a high tolerance for pain because he had to give me 4 times the amount of Novocaine.
Oh my God!
Then told me not to come back.
Wow!
So
Oh my
tell
God!
me I have a low tolerance for pain.
Right.
But
wow.
But
and that's why I said that's one thing, especially when it comes down to medicine, or shall I say scientific studies. There's so many different studies that are done, so many different ways, and it's very conflicting. One thing that I still don't agree with really to this day, and I understand the gist of doing it at one particular point in time, is that we still do this thing where we study, different diseases and this, that, and the third when it comes down to mice, and we say that, okay, just because the mice went through this is the same thing that humans go through, and it's absolutely not true in every case. And this is definitely one. Fibromyalgia, it affects a lot of people, and like I said, people don't even know about it. I mean, there are people that you will see on a day-to-day basis that carry a smile on their face, and you would never think that anything in the world is wrong. But right at that moment, they're in excruciating pain, and they, just like you said, you've lived with it for so long, it's normal.
Yes.
And
I mean, like I said, just a simple trip to the grocery store can be so painful and tiring for somebody. It's nuts. But with this tea, I don't have the inflammation that comes with the fibromyalgia. I still have pain, but this tea has made a huge difference. It gives me the energy that I need to get up and move around, which is also what's helped me lose weight, I don't know. There's nothing bad that I can say about this tea. I did a call earlier in the week too, and on that call I had mentioned that I'll probably never take another prescription medication again. I'm not like you said, we don't make any medical claims here, and I don't claim that I can cure anybody, but I can help you. If you have fibromyalgia, I've been there, I've done it, I'm living it.
What works for you? Yeah.
Exactly. I know what works for me, and I'm just doing this based on my own experience. Trying to help other people.
One of the best things, especially about what it is we do here at Vida Divina, for those of you that are on the line that, you may not know this is your first time joining a call like this and, someone brought you on. The products that we carry here are 100% all natural and organic. And that's one of the best things that you can introduce to your body for anything that you're dealing with. Now, like I said, we don't claim to treat, cure, mitigate any kind of diseases, and we definitely don't tell you to, start going natural and jump off your medication. Definitely not. You get with your doctor, figure out exactly what it is that you're dealing with, how or if you're able to introduce this, able to make changes into your life. So that way you are living better, especially naturally, because like I said, with most medicines, as we've seen over many, many years, it's just a Band-Aid that causes basically another wound that you have to
Exactly. And like I said, I worked in the medical field for 20 years. I'm not knocking doctors. I work with doctors. We need our doctors. We love our doctors. They diagnose us. But we, as the patient, do have the right to accept whatever treatment we want.
Right.
So, and if there's natural, which there has been since day one,
yep.
If there's a natural way to take care of what's going on, then I'm going that route. I'm just going to go that route because I'm tired of seeing these commercials on TVs with, people, lawyers looking for people. Do you have this? Did this happen to you with this medication? Call us now. Or, we should be getting off of these medications, and there are healthier, better alternative ways to, treat our illnesses than these pills that they want to dish out to us.
That is absolutely right. Libby,
most
thank you
people
so
can't even afford.
Oh, gosh.
No problem.
Especially now with what it is that's going on, which is so true.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that a lot of all-natural medications, or shall I say all-natural plants and herbs, actually in the long run are going to be a lot less expensive for your health than the route that we've been going over the past few years.
Yes.
Definitely. Well, Libby, thank you so much for joining me on this call. I love talking to you. I'm going to have you back on again so we can do this.
Oh,
I really,
definitely.
really love it. Thank you so very, very much.
Oh, it's been my pleasure.
Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as you heard from Libby, her personal testimony of what it is that she goes through on a daily basis with fibro. A lot of you that are on the call, you may deal with the same thing. There are some of you on this call that may have never had any clue whatsoever what someone with fibromyalgia goes through. If you have a friend, family, or loved one that goes through it, now you know that this is not something to shy away from, that they are dealing with some extreme pain. And like she said, something that 9 times out of 10 you don't want to trade places for. But for somebody that you love that's dealing with this, and even if it's yourself, if you have not tried all natural, it may be time that you take a second look at it, so that way you may be able to find some kind of relief. Now, here at Vida Divina, like I said, we don't make any medical claims whatsoever, but the ingredients that we use in our products, ladies and gentlemen, have been scientifically documented to be able to do some amazing things. And that's all because that's what they were created to do, all right? Not by our manufacturer, but by the Most High, okay? That's what they were intended to do. So, like I said, you may want to take a second look at a treatment, an alternative treatment, a healthier treatment for yourself as being able to assist with fibromyalgia for yourself, someone that you love, or a friend. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much once again for taking the time out to join me, Melissa Swift, on this call tonight, and my special guest, Libby Brown. Get back to the individual who put you on this call tonight to find out more about the time capsules, chaga, Gano, and also the awesome and amazing Tay Divina that Libby spoke about in her testimony. I hope that you all have an amazing rest of the weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Till next time, God bless you, and good night.